good evening everybody. Welcome to our Facebook Live event. I'm Hannah, I'm a member of the East Cornwall and West Devon Committee.
I'm Kathy, one of the IBD nurses at Derriford.
What are you laughing so much?
Everyone's got the giggle.
Oh, and I'm Heather. Hello. Sorry. We all got told to shut our mouths like 2 seconds before, so
and we actually did.
Why
which is
very laughing.
Very unusual for Hannah.
It is very unusual, and then of course I was the first person to talk, as everyone would expect. And behind the camera we also have Shaz, who is our joint chair, along with our other joint chair, which is Danny. Hello, Shaz and Danny from behind the camera. Cool, and Shaz and Danny are going to be looking out for your comments and stuff, so please say hi, give us a little wave, or press the like icon, or if we do anything funny or anything that makes you angry or anything, please use the little emoticons at the bottom so we can see you reacting to us. Yeah, so we're going to have some questions.
First question then is, I've got a sharp spin that I was using for my Humira injections, but I'm off Humira now. How do I dispose of the pin?
Good question. Well, we were just talking about this.
We were.
Yeah, we kind of ruined it by doing the live before the thing started, so we have just talked about
We
this.
were saying that there's not really a hard and fast rule, or there doesn't seem to be. Different people seem to get different feedback. It seems that the healthcare at home company that deal with Humira are the ones that are responsible for taking away the bins, but we've had lots of feedback to say that doesn't always happen.
Or that it's quite difficult, like you've got to like book a collection with a different thing, and if you're kind of staying in to have your Humira delivered or whatever your injectable medication is, it's a pain to have to stay in for another day to get a sharp spin collected. But Lindsay, you said that you can call the council.
Well, obviously, when I was on Humira was done by the company who were delivering Humira, but then when I went on to methotrexate, because it's an across-the-counter medication now, I did the sharp spin through the council. So I rang the number, they to pick up the full one and deliver you a new one. But sometimes you do have to argue with them, but they do always do it.
Yeah, and I just think that just really annoys me when you've got to argue with them, because you're just like obviously we're quite feisty people, so we're okay to kind of, you know, put our point forward for the sake of our health. But it just makes me feel like, what would other people do? It's another thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can always bring them back to Derriford. If you come back for your outpatient appointment, you can just bring a seal, as long as it's sealed.
With my massive sharp spin being like, just bringing that one in.
Just bring them there, I'll take it from you in outpatients and can get rid of it. That's, you know.
Don't really just walk in and dump them on a desk.
No, don't give them to
Don't walk into reception and go, I'm looking for gummy sharps. But it is a problem, like it is genuinely a problem that actually between us we've all had different experiences of it. So yeah, I think it depends on the medicine you're on, and depends who's given it to you, who's prescribed it to you. And obviously the best way is to get it taken away by the company that have supplied you with it, because they will be, that will be part of their mandate by the NHS to have it taken away. So if you can get it done by the private company, please do. But obviously if it's different medicines and it's not provided by a private company or it's a total pain, there are other routes available.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a question about manuka honey and apple cider vinegar.
Together?
What are your thoughts on manuka honey and or apple cider vinegar to help with ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease?
I think again,
Is that in the medical journal there, Kathy?
It is not in a medical
Yeah.
We were talking about this as well a minute ago.
We were.
We need to just turn up and just do it.
I think there's no medical evidence, is there?
No, for either. But there are lots of reports that they do help some people. And certainly manuka honey, the general health benefits are well recognised, I think.
It's quite expensive, isn't it? Isn't that the really expensive one?
Manuka honey
Like
is
£7
about £25 for. It depends on the spectrum you get, because you can get low ones, you can get high ones. There's so many different. But I have tried both, taken them orally, and although the cider vinegar,
25 quid a bottle of.
Yeah, we tried it. I got to the point of trying anything, absolutely anything.
Yeah.
And I can't say that drinking either of them helped with the Crohn's themselves. The cider vinegar definitely helped with my arthritis.
Really?
Yeah. And the manuka honey, using it externally, is brilliant on wounds.
Isn't it? Yeah,
Absolutely brilliant at healing wounds.
Years ago, that's what they used to use honey, didn't they, on wounds?
Wounds and infection,
Such a
it's
good
brilliant
healing
for.
property.
But I can't say that either worked taking them
No,
orally.
no, and I think that's probably the general.
I wasn't too keen on the flavour.
No.
Well,
if I'm
there's
honest.
a surprise.
I won't say what I said. Are you talking about the cider vinegar or
I was on about the
honey?
manuka honey.
Yeah. I thought it
The
tasted
manuka
a
honey,
bit like
it doesn't.
dishwater.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like your normal everyday shop bought honey.
Oh, I like honey.
Yeah,
But that's the only reason I'd want
that's
it.
Why,
like-
that's
yeah.
why I bought it, because I was
Yeah.
like, well,
It
it's
should be
supposed to
called
have
honey
good
then.
properties to it, and then
Yeah.
I was a bit like,
Definitely doesn't taste like
But
it.
then is it you that only has the lemon flavoured calciture and doesn't have orange, and you don't like any drinks, and you don't
Yeah,
like.
but I only have the chocolate and the
you
strawberry
know
and
me so
banana.
well.
Yeah, well, I don't drink any of it, but don't tell Lucy. Lucy's the dietitian, by the way. I will say about apple cider vinegar is I never knew it was a thing for Crohn's colitis. I read one of these like leadership books and about kind of like getting the most out of your body, and they said that you should have less caffeine. And there's this really like this apple cider vinegar from America, which is meant to be like amazing, like well-being health benefits, and you have it in the morning with a spoonful of honey. Maybe manuka honey, I don't know. So I had this stuff shipped in from America, and I had it first thing in the morning, and I was like, what are you doing? Just have a cup of tea, you're British. I had it, I literally had one, and it was absolutely foul. It was disgusting, and I've got this massive bottle, and I was going to bring it. To try and foist it all off on you lot.
Oh, see, no, I
I could have poured it on you.
Do not mind the taste of the apple cider vinegar. I think if you like strong pickled onions, you'd be fine with it. But the manuka honey.
How are you with strong pickled onions then?
Well, I can't have onions, so that doesn't really help.
She's a sensitive soul.
I am a very sensitive soul. Can't have oranges, can't have onions.
So I think the consensus is
go very
that
well.
they both taste disgusting and neither of them do much. So.
Yeah.
And if you want to try something,
Which is why there's never been trials.
Yeah.
if you want to try it, but
Yeah.
we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Advocate it.
Obviously,
No,
this is probably a good point to mention that everything we say here, obviously, the three of us have no medical training,
And also-
Kathy is in here as her capacity as a friend of the committee. So anything we say is
And also
our own
both of
personal
us
views.
is Crohn's, so
Yeah.
we've only tried it for that. If you want to
Yeah.
try it for colitis,
For some people, it will help. So, like anything, you know, some people find lots of people find different things helpful. So there's no harm in it.
no.
Has
No
anyone
harm
on
in
the
trying
chat?
it at all.
Anyone on the chat tried it?
No, nobody's come through.
Please come and talk to us. Please say hi.
Oh, we've had a couple of hellos.
Oh, cool,
Yes.
great. Who's that?
Rhiannon and Abby.
Hi,
and
Rhiannon.
Margaret.
Hi, Abby.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Margaret.
Oh,
The wrong camera. Sorry. Hi. Thank you for joining in.
I think we've got some Turkish. I'm not sorry. We've had a couple of.
Don't understand that one.
I don't understand.
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, keep writing in Turkish to Danny, please.
It's a flag I don't know. Oh, Abby's not tried manuka honey or apple cider vinegar.
Ah.
Oh.
Give them a try. Let us know if you think it tastes like
I have some for
water.
sale. It'll be on eBay tomorrow.
We've had a question about what can I do for joint or back pain, which may come back to what you were saying before about
It
the
has
cider vinegar.
definitely helped my arthritis. There's no doubt about it. But everyone's different, so all you can do is give it a go. As you say, it doesn't hurt to try.
No.
It's not going to give you any side effects. If you don't like it, then you don't have to carry on. But give it a try.
Because I think it was Abby that put this question in. She actually put it on as a Facebook question, I think, and she said she uses deep heat and she has baths to help, and she knows she can't have anti-inflammatories.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one, isn't it?
But she's kind of saying, you know, I know that I'd rather live with the back pain and joint pain than I'd have a flare up. So, which we all understand.
Yeah.
But if there's something else to try,
I think-
and maybe apple cider vinegar is the thing.
Give it a try.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think it's always really helpful talking about joint pain to get things investigated properly. Because a lot of people have arthropathy, which is aching joints related to Crohn's and colitis, but it doesn't mean they have a degenerative joint problem. So it's not got rheumatoid and they've not got a joint problem that's going to destroy their joints. But some people will have a degenerative joint problem. So it's really important to get your joints investigated by a rheumatologist. So always be referred to them. If they rule out anything, then it's likely to be arthropathy related to IBD. And that's really difficult.
And what would the pathway
I heard
be?
that.
Sorry. What would the pathway be if Abby thought that she was that she wanted to get checked out
Yeah.
by rheumatology.
So
Is that a GP?
always get your GP to refer
Okay.
you to rheumatology. They're pretty good with our patients because they know there's a link, and some people will have active arthritis as opposed to just having arthropathy, which is aching joints. And they will be able to have medication that will help that. So a lot of people do go on for years and years with bad joints and don't have them properly investigated, and there may be things they can do for you.
I think that is like generally something that I think if you've got a chronic disease, I think you are at risk of. Like I think other people do it, and I think we're guilty of it as well. Like going, oh, that'll be my Crohn's disease. Oh, that'll be my Crohn's disease. Oh, that'll be my
And
Crohn's
not
disease.
getting it
And actually,
properly.
it's like a faulty warning light.
I was
Like actually,
about
you're
to
getting a warning
say
light.
that
Your body's saying there's something wrong, and actually, you know, it is worth
don't
checking
let
those
the
things out.
GPs also turn around and say it's just your Crohn's.
They do that
Because I've had that a million times. If you think it's not your Crohn's, if you're not in a flare and you think, well, no, you know, make sure you say that to them and don't let them just fob you off that everything is your Crohn's, because
And
not necessarily.
At the end of the day, like, you know, GPs kind of, they do get a lot of different people coming in. They've got an awful lot of illnesses to be aware of. You know, sometimes you need to be the expert in the room on your condition, and they can look it up, and obviously they are the experts on general medicine. But actually, if you go, I understand there's a link, would you mind checking that? Then, you know, you can support them to give you, and they can kind of look at all the factors that you won't understand as a non-medical practitioner. You can say, you know, I'm worried about it because there's a link. And, you know, at some point, obviously, you have to respect them. But if you go in there and go, I really would like rheumatology to check it out, and that would make me feel better about this. Majority of GPs will go,
they will.
yes, that is the right thing for you, even if it's the right thing for you mentally. A lot of GPs would do that. Sorry, Heather,
No,
I kind
I
of
was
talked
going to
over you a
say,
little bit there.
I don't know whether other people have had this problem, but you phone up the GP and they say, contact your IBD team at anything.
Oh yeah.
that is
So
true.
what happens if you're in that situation and,
mean,
you've tried to go to the
tried
GP,
to
but
go down
they've
the
gone,
right route.
I'm not touching you with a barge pole, love. Off you go to your IBD team.
Yeah, I mean, we can, you know, often what happens if we're concerned about someone's joints and we think, for example, if they were swollen, painful, red, that would be more of a concern than aching joints. We would always then write to the GP ourselves to say, seeing this patient in clinic, please refer to rheumatology. So that's one thing we can do. We can refer people ourselves, but believe it or not, because of the targets, if we do an internal referral, people will wait forever because there's no targets attached. Whereas if you go through your GP, there will always be a target and you have to be seen within a certain amount of weeks, which is why we tend to say go to your GP. We're not being awkward. It is actually quicker on the whole.
Well, plus you do have enough on your plate without dealing with every ailment that we have under the sun.
And also, a GP is a generalist, and in a way, that's a really good thing. You know, so actually, you know, we might say, "Oh, rheumatology." You might say rheumatology because this is our kind of bit. But actually, we, you know, the factors you're presenting with, Abby, could be a whole, actually match another whole load of symptoms. So the GP might say, "Actually, I'd like to run this test and this test," because they will be aware of that. And, you know, that's why it is good to go to a generalist with a new complaint and not kind of go in with your mind made up. So obviously, you know, I will say, you know, I get annoyed.
Abby's saying she thinks she has active arthritis, and she said Kathy would know more than me. She knows me better than I know myself.
I think she does most of us.
Especially your inside.
We've got a question here from Cheryl, who's with ulcerative colitis. Is it possible to go medication free? Thinking of asking my GP to trial without, I don't know that one, Mezavant XL?
Mezavant,
Mezavant. I've heard some are not taking anything.
Oh, very true. Lots of people are out there. I mean, I suppose in these venues and in my work, tend to see the people with the more difficult disease.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are out there in the community with
They're in remission.
very few problems. They're in remission. They don't take any medication. If you've got a fairly mild disease, and that would mean that you've never needed steroids, you've never had any major problem, you've never been hospitalised, it's certainly worthwhile trying without medalazines if you want to. The only slight caveat to that is if you've got colitis all the way around the bowel, so if you have what we call a pan colitis, so colitis in the whole bowel, there is a preventative action of mesalazines that protect against bowel cancer. So it's always important to be on them if you've got colitis all the way around the bowel, even if you think that you're well.
Cheryl, could I ask, are you going to go to your GP to have that conversation? Or is that what you said?
Yeah, thinking of asking my GP.
I personally would think that would be a conversation with the IBD team. So that would be... I think that like that kind of pancolitis kind of thing, protection against bowel cancer, that sounds quite specialist. And that knowledge, and I think we're going to go and talk about pregnancy later, but different specialists look at things in different ways, which is something I learned when I was pregnant, which I'm going to talk about later. And I think I wouldn't make any major decisions about any of my medications without speaking to all the healthcare people involved with me.
Yeah, definitely. You give us a ring, we'll see you in clinic, or we can email or chat.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
They're looking at each other.
Next question. Earlier this year, I had a small bowel resection. This is from Hell, who put the question on today. Thank you. I'm now back to running, which I've done for years, but I would like to know if there's any evidence that running has a detrimental effect on the bowel for people with Crohn's disease.
None whatsoever.
That's what I like, a categorical answer.
Yeah. Absolutely no evidence that, in fact, exercise can only be good.
Exactly.
It can only be good. Some people say that if they have had like a bowel resection or they've got active disease, sometimes they can find that they need to open their bowels a bit more often if they've done a lot of exercise, but not on the whole. Generally speaking, if you haven't got too much of a problem, you're not unwell and you're feeling okay in yourself, crack on, because it's only going to do you good.
I do think that something like running is a more impact-based thing. So, like, as long as you're okay, as long as you're healthy to do it, I would say,
you feel up to it.
For me, I mean, I've had 2 small bowel resections, and
You run every day?
I don't run. I run to the toilet. No, that's a joke. I like cycling because that's less impact. Do you know what I mean? I sometimes find that kind of like, because I have to take a lot of Imodium to get through the day just because I've had that much of my bowel removed. So I find that, if I do something high impact, I'll have to take more Imodium because it will move everything through quicker.
And that's true. A lot of people say that if they've had a bowel resection that they often need a bit of Imodium before they go running, but it shouldn't stop you doing
I would, absolutely.
Especially if she's used to it.
Take a couple more and go. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say just make sure that you're comfortable, because obviously you do use a lot of stomach muscles even when you're running.
Yeah.
If you've had that small bowel resection, or just a resection in general, you've got they've gone through a lot of muscle and.
Presumably not talking 4 weeks post-op. I presume it's a few months ago you've had it.
Earlier this year. So
that's fine.
I remember meeting this lady in about March, and she was just waiting to go in then a couple of weeks later. So
that's so great that it's gone really well for you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Because apparently I didn't remember this, but Danny said we met her when we were doing the letterboxing meet.
Oh, cool.
We were selling letterboxing clues, which was still on sale anyway.
Did you do the letterboxing, Cheryl?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't Cheryl, it was Hell.
Oh, sorry, Hell. Sorry. Getting Cheryl and Hell confused.
Helen, sign up for the half marathon for Crohn's and Colitis UK.
Walk it.
Or walk it.
Coming soon.
Abby, I can't see your whole message, Abby, sorry. I also find dog walking does help my joint pain. It seems to be when I'm not doing too much is when...
Yeah.
My husband's just been diagnosed with rheumatoid in the last 6 months, and it's the stuff that they can do is there's like you said in your original message. I'd much rather have joint pain than a flare, than a Crohn's flare. But actually, there are loads of things you can do, and actually, you shouldn't be experiencing either. Really, do you know what I mean? Like there are things that they can do, and actually, they are the same family of diseases. So a lot of the things that they can do to help your Crohn's, they can also do to help your potential rheumatoid. So really go and get that checked out. If you're in kind of constant pain, that is something that
you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be. Yeah. You shouldn't be.
No.
Lynn's has got a fan.
Yeah, Darren Gregory says you're looking well, mate.
Thanks, Darren.
And I've got another message here, but I don't know why my screen's playing up. Elaine Michael, hi Kathy, Elaine Michael here, and I'm feeling great, hitting the 9 stone mark now after February's off. And I don't know why, but I can't see the rest.
We love
success.
We love success.
Stories.
Thank you so much for these people that are interacting. Please come on, tell us how you're doing.
Sorry,
Just say
Elaine,
hi.
I can't see the rest of your message.
We'll find it.
Really.
Technical
In the
problems.
meantime, I'm a bit worried about how my IBD will affect my pregnancy.
Ah.
Do you have any advice?
Down to these two.
Okay. Well,
This is
Oh well.
a superb document. Crohn's and Colitis UK. Can everybody see that? It's very It's very what am I trying to say?
Very useful.
Informative.
Yes, it's got everything you need in there
And they've just
On the
redone
website.
it.
on the website.
They've
just
just
redone
redone it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult
Hot
one to be
off the
too prescriptive with pregnancy because a lot of people are the best they've ever been in IBD, and that's probably true for a large percentage of people. There are going to be some people that have quite a bad flare up during pregnancy, and if you have got a difficult flare up during pregnancy, that can be quite difficult if you're pregnant. So people can have a difficult time. But a lot of people say that they're the best they've ever been. So I think the main thing with pregnancy is getting pregnant, have a conversation with the IBD team before you get pregnant, do it in hopefully, I know it's not always possible, but if you can do it in an not organised, what am I trying to say? What's the word I'm trying to say?
methodical. We're trying to dig you out of the hole. Planned.
Plan pregnant by being
So
organised.
congratulations to Heather. Who we should probably say congratulations. Heather is pregnant. How many weeks are you?
I will be 17 weeks on Saturday.
How
It's
exciting!
very exciting.
And you can talk about your own personal experience.
Yeah, so I have a little boy, a 3-year-old, and I can talk a little bit about my experience of pregnancy and IBD. The question was about being pregnant with IBD, so I'll focus on that. So the first thing is, I didn't know I was pregnant for 8 weeks because I didn't do it in a very organised and methodical way.
She did not go down the planned route.
No. And so basically realised I was pregnant, phoned my GP, and I went, oh, I think I'm pregnant. And they went, yeah, whatever, we'll give you a midwife appointment by your time you're 10 or 12 weeks. And I went, well, I actually think I'm on some quite scary medicine that I shouldn't really be on. And they went, what are you on? We'll talk to someone to get you back. So then they phoned me back like 10 minutes later, which never happens, and when you've got an emergency appointment with a GP, which was really scary, actually. I don't think they dealt with it very well. So then I went in, so I had an emergency appointment with the GP, and they took me off all of my Crohn's medicine, which I don't think was a very good idea, including my Imodium, which actually doesn't just helps you get through the day emotionally, if nothing else. So I then booked an emergency appointment with you guys, who were the specialists, and basically went, yes, I can understand why your GP has made that decision, but based on the whole medical history, based on all the things we know about you, based on all these things, actually this is an okay risk for your pregnancy. So I stayed,
the drugs you were on were
absolutely,
okay.
yep. So I was. So the thing is that a GP, as soon as you get pregnant, you become second to the baby, and that is a really odd thing when you're used to being a very empowered patient, as probably most of us are, and that is really weird that people are making decisions not even for you, people are making decisions about you and the for your baby, and that is obviously a really weird thing that I'd say for people to be aware of. So that I would totally agree with doing it in a planned way, but I'd also agree in having to do still be part of your GP, really engage them. My midwife was the same. I had a great midwife who really engaged with everything. I was going to have consultant-led care because of my Crohn's. I don't know if that's been decided for you yet. Good, that's what I would say. There was a discussion. I saw the consultant at 12 weeks, Dr. Montague, and she was really good. And she said, categorically, we will not be giving you a planned section because you've already had 2 bowel surgeries. Then I went to IBD and they went, categorically, you should have a planned C-section because you've had 2 bowel surgeries. And it really was a call. And I think and it was down to me to make that call at the end of the day. And I was told by basically everyone gave me all the information. And IBD said to me, it could be absolutely fine, but if something goes wrong for you, it will be catastrophic. But and then the other side of it was, all things to do with the baby and things like that, but it could have been fine. I chose to have a planned section. That was my decision. Okay, and I think that's the kind of decisions you've got to be making. That you know there are lots of different factors in the pregnancy. So I went for a planned section because of my personal medical history. It will be different for everyone. Everyone will be advised differently. But I had a really great relationship between the IBD team, my consultant in obstetrics or whatever it's called. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And my midwife, and I felt it was totally joined up and brilliant. So that's what you've got to do. And sometimes you've got to weave that together. You know, you've got to make sure that you link all those people up. But I had, you know, generally a really good experience. I think it is terrifying knowing that you've got a condition.
Parasite.
Yeah. Well,
growing inside.
Yeah.
Well, it is technically. It is.
I was thinking
off
about
of
Crohn's,
you.
but...
I know, but that's what is coming down to, isn't it? Because the baby will sap everything from you.
Yeah. So remember the idea.
So you're just trying. So they just. It's so important to keep everybody involved because you've got to be as well as you possibly can to be able to support this being inside you. I had a slightly different approach to my pregnancy to Hannah because I told the IBD team about 2 years ago about it and mentioned about it before I got married. And I said, look, I'm getting married within the year, so you know what that means, basically. And they just went, all right, we'll come back to us when you're actually pregnant and we'll talk about it then. And then I found out I was pregnant and I automatically met Kathy and I was like, guess what? I'm pregnant. And she went, great. And I was like, what do I do about the Humira? She was like, stay on it. Do not come off it yet. In my opinion, she put at the end.
I think the important thing really in pregnancy is to make contact with us straight away. Get an opinion from the IBD team. Everyone's different, and also everyone has different types of disease. So you could have ulcerative colitis, distal colitis, proctitis, Crohn's, small bowel Crohn's, large bowel Crohn's, and it's going to be different for everyone. So make contact with us. Don't just stop your drugs automatically, unless it's methotrexate, in which case you should never have got pregnant.
No.
But apart from that drug, don't stop everything because most drugs now for IBD are considered quite safe, especially in the first 2 trimesters. And I think the care is more joined up now between us and obstetrics, so we work quite closely with them now. In the last year, I think that's really improved, and everybody with IBD should be under consultant-led obstetric care as well.
I think I was very lucky with my GP as well, because when I phoned them, I said, look, you've got my notes in front of you.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm going to need to, you know, I'm not bothered about what medication I'm on for my Crohn's as such, but it's the rest of the medication that I'm on, I will go through with someone. Exactly. And the receptionist just went to me, I'm going to get a pharmacist to phone you back. And within the hour, I had a pharmacist on there, and she actually gave me the website Bumps, www.bumps, BUMPS.co.uk, I think, which is... if you're pregnant, you can type in any medication on there and see whether or not it is safe within pregnancy. And it's actually the one which pharmacists and GPs use. So if you're sat in front of them, that's the website they're going to be on anyway. So you can do it at home as well. And she basically said to me, I'm giving you the website because there may be other medication you need to go on at some point. And this is just easier for you to have a look at for yourself and be able to sort of calm your own mind. And so I was very lucky. I haven't seen the obstetrics team yet. I've got another 3 weeks to go, and then I see them. They don't see you until you hit halfway, until you've hit that 20 weeks period. So do not worry if you are also pregnant, or you know, if you've got a little longer to go until you see them. They do not see you until you've hit the halfway point.
So you didn't see them at 12 weeks?
Nope. I saw gastro.
But see, I saw the consultant.
But no, you don't see the consultant.
You are older than Heather.
20 weeks.
Just saying.
Oh yes, she is.
Jesus, did you really?
Abby said that she was really.
I don't want to bring it down, but you know.
And so she was really well through her pregnancy until she got to the last trimester.
Oh.
And then she says, the most beautiful thing I heard is if you're poorly whilst pregnant, the baby will share its stem cells to heal you too. Unconditional love right there.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And there is you know, like the whole kind of journey of kind of like being pregnant with Crohn's disease and stuff like that, and it is constantly in your mind. I'm sure Abby will agree with me that you are constantly, because like people's it is really terrifying.
I mean, it's bad enough having Crohn's, isn't it? But then
but you are, because everyone says to you. I'm not saying it because I know that you're feeling it too, because I haven't asked you, but I know you are, because everyone says to you, oh, they're like a parasite feeding off you, and it's like, oh my god, there's not much of me left.
Or it's the people go, you look so well being pregnant, and you're thinking, do I really? Because I feel quite, tired.
You'll feel better after 20 weeks. You will. It is better after 20 weeks.
I feel good. I have been very,
because you look it and then you tell everyone.
You've been better than you were before.
Really lucky
you were
that
pregnant.
I have been a lot better. I didn't suffer with morning sickness at all through the full 12 weeks, 16 weeks or whatever that people do.
Oh, B12. Can I just say, if you're pregnant, keep your bloody B12 up. Yeah. Whatever you do, make sure that if you're due B12 jabs or anything like that, get them, because you will need them, because you're going to be tired.
What are those two doing in the corner?
I don't know. I think they're writing rude notes to each other. What do you mean? What do you mean? Shut up.
Naughty school children.
Wind up time. Okay, so I think that means. Shall I wind up? I'm the god, aren't I? So we are hosting a quiz. Come along and say hello to us all. Will be at the Brook Inn on Thursday the 4th of October. The quiz starts at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Come along for 7:30, get your sheet. I think, are we doing £10 a team?
Yes.
Teams of 6?
Yes.
Look at me, it's as if I'm making it up on the spot. Please come along. You can eat at the Brook Inn if you come along early. You need to book a table.
Says, need a bloke on this panel. Half of us will never get pregnant.
James, you can come to the next one.
James, you're invited. Come on. We're going to PM you.
Come and join us.
Private message you. Right.
Mind you, you've got a few children, James, to be fair.
And send maintenance money.
Don't act like you don't know what it's like.
And then, really exciting, we have our pig racing event, our annual pig racing event, which is on Saturday the 1st of December, which is basically, they're not real pigs, they're wind-up pigs. It is an absolutely brilliant night. Saturday the 1st of December, and that is at the
GWRSA Club in Lara.
It's in Lara at a social club, and we will give you directions nearer the time. I can't even get the letters in the right
Down Mullet Road.
Down Mullet Road.
Mullet Road.
So that's on Saturday the 1st of December. Put both of those dates in your diary. And our next live is
November the 8th.
November the 8th. So it'd be great.
Who says you're cheeky?
Who?
So big thank you to Kathy, who comes in her own time to come and answer questions.
I do get one.
And obviously, thanks from all of us.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
we will see you in the
Keep
next
well
one.
and positive.
Keep well, keep
And
positive.
prosper.
Keep talking to us.
Thanks everyone. Bye.